Imagine being the target of the most powerful corporation in the world, a corporation that has its fingers in the media, high tech, commerce, retail, entertainment, everything. And they target you and they go after you. Scary, right? Harrowing. Now imagine that the CEO of that corporation can pick up the phone or have his lawyers pick up the phone and sick the DOJ and the FBI on you and enlist them in that attack. It's a scary story, and it's a real one. And we've got someone to tell it because she and her family, they were targeted by Amazon and the FBI. Joining us right now is Amy Nelson, CEO of The Riveter. And I'm not overstating the case. That's exactly what your family went through, isn't it, Amy?
It is, Larry. It's been a long and hard 3 years.
3 years. Now, what happened? Your husband worked for Amazon as an employee or maybe as a subcontractor. How did that work?
Yeah, my husband worked for Amazon Web Services as an employee for 8 years. Amazon Web Services, as many of you know, is the cloud computing division of Amazon. And actually, the government is one of their largest clients. They have multiple billion-dollar contracts with agencies like the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI. And my husband worked on sourcing real estate for data centers, which is where the internet lives.
And these data centers, this is the backbone of this business. And I guess part of the gig here is they identify areas, regions, prime real estate opportunities where these data centers can exist. They bring jobs, they bring commerce to an area. You hear politicians bragging about it all the time. We're going to be a big data corridor, and it's all part of these data centers. So, this is a really important job your husband had identifying these areas in the country to host these very important things for Amazon. So, what went wrong here?
So my husband had Amazon's original employment contract from the 1990s. And because Amazon is a horizontal monopoly that is in so many different industries, his employment contract allowed him to do a number of things, including start a business while he worked at Amazon and seek investment. And he did just that. And we found out long after he did that and after he had left Amazon that Amazon had actually gone to the FBI and accused him of actually engaging in a kickback scheme related to real estate. My husband was not asked what happened or given an opportunity to explain. Instead, the FBI knocked on our door on April 2nd, 2020, and accused him of a crime.
Now, let me just be clear. You had not heard anything from AMA. You didn't hear like an internal memo or HR reaching out to you or saying that they immediately just sicked the feds on you?
Yes. So what happened, to backtrack a little bit, is that Amazon had broken a contract with a real estate developer. And the only way they could break that contract with the developer and not give him notice or pay him out was if he had committed a felony. And so
Ah,
Amazon, instead of speaking with the real estate developer, investigating any issues, just went to the FBI.
so it appears as though this was sort of their way of weaseling out of a real estate deal. The only out was if it was felonious activity. So they decided, wow. And by the way, I want to cut to the chase here before anybody starts to get. You've won, right? Last week, a federal judge pretty much threw this whole thing out.
Well, this is wild. So my husband was never actually been charged with a crime. And so Amazon then sued him in civil court, and very long drawn out lawsuit. And yes, before trial was to start May 1st, and the judge threw out the breach of contract claim. The Amazon had filed a RICO lawsuit accusing my husband essentially of being in like a real estate mafia. And the fraud claim. The judge said Amazon wasn't harmed, they benefited, and that my husband's employment contract allowed exactly what he did.
Wow, a RICO suit against you, your little family, and your husband. That's pretty rich coming from boss Bezos over there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
let me just be
In their
clear.
initial in their initial complaint, they said that my husband violated federal antitrust laws, a single man.
How's that even possible?
I don't know. They said he
Your
rigged the
husband is a
land price.
monopoly. That's pretty impressive. Well done, you.
It
So
is impressive. But one thing,
let's
I
be
think
clear here, though. You get an early morning wake up call at dawn where the FBI is knocking on your door to tell you that you've been accused or your husband is accused of federal crime, but ultimately no charges were ever actually filed.
that is correct. My husband was never even charged with a crime. And I think the hardest part of all of this, and I believe it is because of Amazon's relationship with the Department of Justice, and they hired a former federal prosecutor from the Eastern District of Virginia to lobby his former colleagues. Amazon asked the federal government to seize my husband's bank account. And the government did that. And they used the extraordinary tool of civil forfeiture to seize our bank accounts. They seized the money we had paid his attorneys from the attorney, his bank account. And they did that without ever charging him with a crime or proving a crime. And it wasn't until after they had the government seize our bank accounts that they sued my husband. So they made
Wow.
sure he wouldn't be able to defend himself.
This truly is terrifying in this free country that a single company can have this kind of power to just demand that the Justice Department seize your personal bank accounts. It's truly terrifying.
It feels like another country. It feels like an authoritarian country. And, imagine my husband was found not to have breached his employment contract, and the
Right.
federal government seized our bank accounts for 21 months. We fought and we got it back. But I think very few people would be able to withstand this kind of pressure and these tactics.
So your husband was never charged with a crime. Amazon decides to file a civil lawsuit against you, and they lose that. That gets thrown out. Are you worried that there's going to be more retaliation? It sounds like if Jeff Bezos or Amazon wants to make your life a living hell, they just can.
They really can because they're willing to just spend the money to do it, apparently. I mean, toward the end of the lawsuit, when they were getting quite desperate, I have been very vocal on social media and particularly on TikTok because it's been hard to get the media to pay attention to this because Amazon is the biggest ad buyer in the world. But I was very vocal on TikTok, and Amazon in federal court filings called me, the defendant's wife, a conspiracy theorist and said I was threatening lawyers. And that it's frightening to be accused of those things. I am a mother, I am a CEO, and it's also defamatory. But they just are kind of relentless when they want to go after someone. And the thing is, Amazon does business with so many vendors, so many people who sell in their marketplace, so many employees that
Yep.
millions of Americans are at risk for their behavior.
Well, we are at risk, and we're also beholden to this company because AWS, people don't think about it. They think of Amazon as, oh, I get to watch streaming movies or I get things delivered to me tomorrow or sometime same day. And that's great stuff. You want a book, get a book. But AWS provides web service and hosting and data storage and processing for everyone. I mean, everyone. You can't go to market on the internet right now without Amazon being part of it.
They have a massive share of the cloud market. And part of it is that they were willing to invest in the infrastructure for it, the land. And for me, it's even more frightening that they provide so many cloud services to the government because really at this point, I think we should ask, where does Amazon end and the government begin? You look at a certain point where the Ma Bell was broken up and telephones changed. And I think
Yep.
that the internet is such a part of our infrastructure that we need to think about that at this point.
Very good point. And it's no surprise that when they were looking for their second headquarters on the East Coast, they ended up doing it about 2 miles away from where we're sitting right now, right across the Potomac from Washington, D.C.
Oh, and then
Real
Jeff
fast
bought
here,
the
they called you a
paper.
conspiracy theorist. You're based out of Seattle, Washington, not known as a hotbed of right wing, Trump loving MAGA stuff. I'm guessing you're actually not really conservative or Republican, right? This isn't a political thing.
No, I don't think it was political at all. And I actually was on Barack Obama's National Finance Committee. I now consider myself politically homeless because I've learned a lot. I think about how the government operates and their incentives. But no, I mean, and I'm a CEO. I've created a company with 150 jobs. I'm a lawyer by training. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. And you wonder, like, what would they do to somebody who didn't have a platform to fight back?
Right. Well, we want to keep shedding light on this and getting more information about it. So we'll have you back. In the meantime, support what Amy does at The Riveter, theriveter.com. And you're not politically homeless, Amy. We got you covered. You have a home with us. There's more to come on O'Connor tonight.